Welcome back to Eastern Brush, Western Soul, where we explore the beauty of East Asian ink painting and the treasures of classical books and art. Today, we turn to one of the most celebrated narrative paintings in Chinese art history, the Nymph of the Luo River, Luo Tu. The original composition was created by the great Jin Dynasty master Gu Kaizhi, inspired by Cao Zhi's famous poetic masterpiece, Rhapsody on the Goddess of the Luo River, written during the Three Kingdoms period. The hand scroll we are viewing today, however, is not the lost original, but a remarkable Qing Dynasty court reproduction titled Copy After Gu Kaizhi's Luoshen Painting Scroll, executed by the Imperial painter Ding Guanpeng under royal command. Faithful to the ancient design, it preserves the flowing composition, elegant figures, and supernatural imagery of the original vision. At the same time, it enriches the scene with brilliant blue and green landscapes, gold outlines, and subtle touches of Western shading and perspective. Through this refined recreation, the timeless story of love between mortal and goddess unfolds once more in a continuous visual narrative. Now housed in the National Palace Museum, Taipei, this scroll offers us not only a glimpse of Gu Kaizhi's legendary imagination, but also the artistic dialogue between past and present, East and West. Let us begin our journey into this enchanting masterpiece. As the hand scroll slowly unfolds, we are gradually drawn into a classical world where poetry, painting, and imagination merge into one continuous narrative. The story originates from Cao Zhi's Rhapsody on the Goddess of the Luo River, Luo, a poetic vision written during the Three Kingdoms period. In this literary work, Cao Zhi imagines a chance encounter in the year 222 CE while traveling along the Luo River where he meets the goddess Fu Fei, the divine spirit of the river. Struck by her extraordinary beauty, the poet becomes deeply moved and a fleeting, dreamlike romance unfolds between the mortal and the divine. Yet separated by the boundaries between human and spirit, their love can never be realized. The poem ultimately resolves in a mood of sorrow, longing, and irreversible parting. This painted version, titled Copy After Gu Kaizhi's Luoshen Scroll, follows the poetic sequence closely, unfolding like a visual narrative in distinct scenes. Resting and pause, sudden encounter and awe, playful interaction including the gathering of herbs and fluttering banners, the assembly of river spirits and celestial beings, moments of hesitation and wandering, preparations for departure with divine attendants and chariots, and finally separation, return, and solitary reflection, conveyed through boating, night contemplation, and the journey back east. What makes this Qing Dynasty court copy especially fascinating is the artistic intervention of Ding Guanpeng, a painter trained under the Jesuit artist Giuseppe Castiglione, Lang Shining. While faithfully preserving the ancient composition, he subtly reinterprets it through Western pictorial techniques. In terms of space, the traditional flattened hierarchy of early Chinese painting, where figures often appear larger than mountains and scale does not strictly follow natural perspective, is transformed through the introduction of Western linear perspective, creating a more coherent and believable spatial depth. In terms of light and form, Western chiaroscuro is employed to model facial features, musculature, and the physical presence of horses and figures, giving the traditionally linear brushwork an unprecedented sense of volume and corporeality. In terms of color, the composition is elevated into a richly decorative Imperial-style gold and blue-green landscape, where mineral pigments and gold outlines enhance mountains, trees, and architectural forms, producing a refined visual opulence characteristic of Qing court painting. Through this synthesis of poetic narrative, classical composition, and cross-cultural technique, the scroll becomes not only a retelling of a timeless legend, but also a visual record of artistic exchange between East and West. As the scroll continues to unfold, we encounter the imperial voice of Emperor Qianlong of the Qing Dynasty, whose inscriptions further deepen the painting's cultural and poetic resonance. The first colophon is written in an elevated classical style, closely echoing the language of Cao Zhi's original Rhapsody on the goddess of the Luo River. Through this dense and highly elusive text, Qianlong not only copies the poetic source, but also visually reperforms it in calligraphy. His writing moves through scenes of encounter, hesitation, divine beauty, and ultimate separation, mirroring the unfolding imagery of the hand scroll itself. The inscription becomes almost a parallel narrative where emotion, restraint, longing, and ritual propriety are carefully balanced, reflecting both the aesthetic ideals of the original poem and the cultivated sensibility of the imperial hand. The second inscription shifts tone into a more reflective and art-historical commentary. Here, Qianlong acknowledges the transmission of artistic tradition across generations, praising the enduring vitality of earlier masters, while situating this work within that lineage. When he orders Ding Guanpeng to reproduce Gu Kaizhi's legendary composition, he frames the act not as mere copying, but as a continuation of artistic spirit across time. The verse evokes themes of inherited excellence, disciplined technique, and the enduring power of classical imagery, suggesting that true mastery is not bound to antiquity, but continually renewed through reinterpretation. Finally, the artist's own inscription confirms the courtly context of the work. Ding Guanpeng records that in the 19th year of Qianlong's reign, 1754, he was commissioned to respectfully reproduce Gu Kaizhi's Luoshen composition. He notes his admiration for the original spirit of the ancient master and his careful adherence to its intention, while working within the stylistic expectations of the Qing imperial court. Together, these inscriptions transform the scroll into more than a painting. It becomes a layered cultural object where poetry, imperial authority, artistic lineage, and pictorial innovation converge into a single continuous act of remembrance and reinterpretation. In conclusion, Ding Guanpeng, active during the Yongzheng and Qianlong reigns of the Qing dynasty, was a native of Shuntian, present-day Beijing. He was a highly skilled court painter, especially renowned for his refined depictions of Buddhist and Taoist subjects, figure painting, and landscape composition. His style is characterized by meticulous brushwork and a striking sense of lifelike presence. In the fourth year of the Yongzheng reign, 1726, his exceptional artistic ability brought him into the imperial court as a court painter. From that point on, he served under both the Yongzheng and Qianlong emperors, earning consistent recognition and favor for his technical mastery and elegant execution. Through his reproduction of the Nymph of the Luo River, we see not only the survival of a legendary ancient composition, but also the transformation of classical imagery under the hand of a Qing court artist working at the intersection of tradition and innovation. Thank you for watching today's exploration. This is Eastern Brush, Western Soul. a space dedicated to the study of East Asian ink painting and the sharing of classical texts and visual culture. We hope this journey through brush, poetry, and imagination brings you a moment of calm and inspiration. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and join us as we continue to explore the depth and beauty of East Asian art and literature. See you in the next scroll.